Hello and welcome to Taylor's Travels today. During this slideshow, I will be taking those of you on a tour in the magnificent city of New York City. This is one of the first pictures I took of my two friends, Chance and Cole, as we were arriving in the city. They were just as ecstatic as I was and couldn't believe that after such a long bus ride, we'd finally made it in the great big city. Quick city views at its finest. This was a fast snapshot I took of just a small glimpse of what the big city had to offer while we were traveling by bus and making our way through the crowded city streets. Strawberry Fields, as pictured, was a section that we entered in Central Park. And this circle, titled Imagine, was an area in honor and memory of the Beatles. Visitors and fans placed roses down to show their love and respect. And fellow member Paul McCartney had made his appearance at this memorial just a few days prior. This is a gorgeous view and one of many sidewalks in Central Park, and one of my favorite all-time photos I believe I've ever taken. It encompasses the beauty and scenic views that Central Park has to offer. And on this gorgeous day, there were hundreds of people around, and as you can see, my friend Madison and I were having a blast, basking in the sunlight and enjoying all the scenery that Central Park had to offer. The tunnel underneath this bridge had a marvelous surprise waiting underneath, and as we walked through, we noticed the ceilings were so beautiful and artistic with delicate touches. All over Central Park were sculptures such as these that were displayed for all to see, and were sculpted by neighborhood artists. Radio City Music Hall, where my all-time favorite Saturday Night Live is held, was one for the books. Here are some signs just outside of the building before we entered. Just inside, my ever so adventurous friend, Molly, decided to pose for me in the phone booth while waiting in the lobby area of Radio City Music Hall. Pictured here is my professor and mentor, Miss King. She's with one of the Rockettes from Radio City Music Hall. We were all able to meet and greet many of them, which was an experience of a lifetime. And this was a grand view inside of Radio City Music Hall. And at that time was the NFL draft. We were able to see it all in the making. Radio City Music Hall is sure of an immaculate place. Next, I took my first subway ride. And here are some of New York City's everyday subway travelers. After we arrived at our next destination, our subway trip took us to Broome Street. And this too is one of my favorite pictures because of the heart someone had previously placed on the crosswalk sign. Here is my friend Danielle, and we were walking downtown in Times Square, anxiously awaiting the arrival of M&M's World. Here was one giant and groovy M&M. Again, here's Cole, who was my model for the week, as he was overlooking the city while awaiting our ferry ride to Ellis Island. The city skyline from our ferry was just beautiful. Lady Liberty herself, standing in dignity, pride, and justice. It meant so much more seeing it in person and visiting Ellis Island than it did from seeing it from someone else's pictures or from a movie. After a fun-filled day, we walked down Saks Fifth Avenue and shopped in many of the stores. One thing my friend Molly and I found very interesting was that Abercrombie & Fitch actually had male and female models out in front of their store waiting for those shoppers who wanted a photo op, just like we did. On our last day, we visited the 9/11 Memorial and the church that was next to the Twin Towers, which was never even touched nor damaged. This church was truly lucky, truly blessed. And inside was a memorial for all the lives lost, men, women, and children, the young and the old. It was an eerie and silencing reminder to be thankful for our armed forces for what they do for our country, and to be truly blessed because we have what many don't, and that is freedom. Lastly, this is a photo of my three best friends, Molly, Carson, and myself, as we leave one of my most favorite places, fast-paced, upbeat, and the magnificent city of New York City. New York, I'll see you again. And now my friend, Miss Riley Kate Wexler, has a few tidbits that she would like to bring to this.
After seeing Miss Taylor's pictures and learning some history about New York, I would want to travel to New York City someday and run all day long in Central Park, visit the Statue of Liberty, and go to Broadway to see some of my favorite animals in the show The Lion King.
So Riley Kate, why would you want to run all day long in Central Park?
Because it's beautiful.
And it's big. And the Statue of Liberty, you've learned so much about that from history. What is one thing that you're excited about the Statue of Liberty?
I do not know.
You do not know. Maybe seeing it in person?
Maybe.
Maybe so. And Broadway, what's your favorite animal that you'll probably get to see in The Lion King?
The cheetah.
The cheetah. Well, I thank you, Riley Kate. And again, thank you for listening to Taylor's Travels Today on a tour through the magnificent city of where?
New York City.